Hello and good evening everyone. I'll be doing the first reporting for our group. Our group is group 3. So our topic is the Constitution and Statute compare different kinds of laws made by the government. So the one that I chose to report is the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. So what is the Constitution? The Constitution is the highest law of the Philippines, serving as the foundation for all governments and legal systems in the country. It defines how the government is structured and outlines the powers of each branch and protects the rights of the citizens. Anyways, I'll cut it too short to that. So basically, what this slide is trying to say is that the Constitution is the highest and most important law here in the Philippines. And like any other law, you have to follow it. Like executive orders, you have to follow through it from the Constitution. And if you break that law, if you go way far beyond that, against it, you will deal with the consequences. It becomes invalid as well. So the Constitution, it defines how the entire government is how they should work, and they also have branches for that, which is the executive branch, legislative, and judiciary, those parts. And also, in short, the Constitution is basically the foundation of our rights. Alright, move on to slide 2. So, slide 2. The purpose of the Constitution. The Constitution ensures that the country has a stable and organized government. It provides a framework for making laws, protects the fundamental rights of every Filipino through the Bill of Rights, and limits the powers of government officials to prevent abuse. It also defines the identity of the Filipino nation and guides citizens in understanding their rights and responsibilities in a democratic way. So what this slide means is that it, especially the first sentence, it gives a clear structure for the government. So basically, without this structure, we wouldn't be able to know what the levels of the hierarchy of which government, especially having to know what their limits are, what laws is inconsistent, and secondly, it protects our fundamental rights as a individual citizen in the Philippines through the Bill of Rights. It ensures that the government cannot just arrest anyone, so you have to follow through the Constitution. The Constitution protects you, so they can't just rightfully arrest you anytime they want to. So they cannot take away your freedom of speech, your freedom to express yourself, basically that. And lastly, to sum it up, basically it also prevents the abuse. So even if the president or someone higher than that, they can't act higher or be above than everything else and the Constitution itself. Alright, next let's move on to slide 3. Key characteristics of the Constitution. So the key characteristics of the Constitution is the supreme law, and then the second one is framework for government. Third is Bill of Rights. Fourth is flexibility. So let's sum it up. So a written Constitution is a formal document, okay? It contains all the rules governing a country. Next one is the unwritten Constitution. Basically, you can't find it anywhere because it's not written like in any other document. It's mainly based on traditions, customs, and maybe religion. More in judicial, I think. next one is a rigid constitution. This kind of rigid constitution, this kind of constitution, it's really difficult to change because it requires like special processes for amendments, yada yada yada. But a flexible constitution is much more easier to amend because some countries allow to alter constitution provisions. Alright, lastly, our slide 5 here is the importance of the Constitution in our daily lives. The Constitution is not just a legal document, it affects our daily lives. It protects our fundamental rights, ensures that laws are fair, and holds the government accountable. It provides a foundation for citizen participation and democracy. Alright, I'll cut that short. Basically, what I'm trying to say here, why the Constitution is very important. It's very important to us as citizens here in the Philippines, living here. It gives you the assurance and safety net for you as a citizen here in the Philippines, because it protects you from any time, any loss, whatever happens to you, anything other than you, business or whatever, everything is fair and reasonable, and everything can be, especially people can be held accountable for that. I know that in our lives we just eat, sleep, here, we do these kind of simple things in our lives, but sometimes we forget how grateful we are to have the Constitution, because it gives us much more an easy life, and it helps us understand to become better, a much more responsible citizens, because we know our rights and our role in the country's democracy.
A statute is a law made by the lawmakers, by Congress. It is written down and talk about specific things like crime, tax, business, or family rules. Statutes are easier to change than the Constitution. Characteristic of a statute made by the lawmakers. This means the government writing, written and recorded. People can read it in books or online. Talk about specific topics, not everything. Must follow the Constitution. It cannot break the highest law. Can be charged or removed easily. Applies to everyone, citizen or business. Now, let's see how statutes are different from the Constitution. Level of authority. The Constitution is the highest law. If other law breaks it, the Constitution wins. A statute has authority but cannot break the Constitution. Who created? The Constitution is made by the people through special meetings or vote. A statute is made by the lawmakers in the usual law process. Scope and purpose. The Constitution gives the big rule, government structure, people's rights and responsibilities. A statute gives specific rule like tax, school, or crime. Permanency. The Constitution is hard to change. It needs special step like vote or referendums. A statute is easily to change by the lawmakers. Judicial review. Courts use the Constitution to check if the statutes are valid. If a statute breaks the Constitution, court can cancel. Ang statute amo ni specific nga layi nga ginahimo sang Congress. Pag na-aproban nila kag napapirmahan sa presidente, official law na siya. Kung baga, ang Constitution amo niyang big rule, pero ang statute amo niyang everyday rule yung ginasunod naton. Statutes are specific and detailed. The Constitution gives general principles, but statutes break those down in a clear and concrete rules. Example include criminal laws, tax laws, educational laws, and traffic laws. Though step-by-step guides, ang Constitution general lang, pero ang statutes klaro kag specific. Third, statutes are subordinate to the Constitution. They must always follow the Constitution because the Constitution is the highest law. If the statute violate any constitutional right or principle, court can strike it down as unconstitutional. Hindi pwede maglagpas sa Constitution kung kontra sa Constitution, automatic invalid. The Constitution says people have the right to due process. A statute then give the exact step and procedures that government must follow, such as a rule for arrest, trial, and evidence. These show statutes operate under the Constitution and give life to its principle. Example, Constitution, may right ka sa due process. Statutes, amo niyang naghahambal sa actual step, paano ang arrest, trial, evidence, kag proseso.
And next, the different kinds of laws made by the government. And first is the constitutional law. This is the supreme law of a land created directly by the people to regulate and restrain the government itself. It established the framework for the government and defines the right of individuals, and siya ning nag-establish ang tatlo ka branches, and the three branches is executive, legislative, and judiciary. And second is statutory law. These are formal written laws enacted by legislative body like a Congress or Parliament. They cover a vast range of topics and are often organized into codes. In the Philippines, these are often titled as Republic Act. And the third is administrative law. This type of law comprises the rules and regulation that govern the operation of administrative agencies, which the government established to carry out specific mandates in areas like healthcare, taxes, and the environment. And the fourth law is case law. These are the common law, also known as a judge-made law. These result from judicial decision in court cases. These precedents are used to guide future rulings in similar situations, ensuring consistency in the application of the law. And the fifth law is criminal law. This branch deals with crimes and the legal procedures for prosecuting criminal offenses. This law defines action that violate government's statutes and establish penalties like imprisonment or fines. In the sixth law, we have a civil law. This area of law addresses the duties individuals owe to each other or to their government. Excluding criminal matters, it covers dispute related to contracts, property,
and personal injury, among other things. And the seventh law, we have international law. This body of rules result from interaction and agreement among governments governing relation between nations. And sila niyang gaset sa rules and principles to govern the relationship of organizational and international in every individuals. And for the eighth law, we have labor law. This law governs the rights and responsibilities of both workers and employers, ensuring fair treatment and safety in the workplace. The purpose of this law is to ensure fair treatment and protect workers and balance the interests of both employers and employees. For our ninth law, we have an environmental law. This field involves various laws designed to regulate human impact on the environment, covering areas like waste disposal and air and water quality. And for our last law, we have a tax law. These laws concern the levying of tax, such as income tax, property tax, and excise tax.
Hi, my name is Dave Rene Dumalaog and I'm part of Group 3. And I'll be reporting about the importance of Constitution and statutes in governance. But first, let me redefine what Constitution is. Constitution is the foundation of governance. It provides the basic structure, principles, and limits of government authority. And there are 5 reasons why Constitution is important. First, it establishes the structure of government. Second, it protects the rights and freedom of citizens. Third, serves as the supreme law. And fourth, provides stability and order. And last, fifth, is reflects on the sovereignty of the people. And statutes. Let me redefine what statutes is. Statutes are the specific law passed by the legislator, example, Congress. They convert constitutional into principles or into detailed, specific, enforceable rules. And there are also, I'll give 5 reasons why statutes are important. Because it provides detailed rules for daily governance. Second is it implements constitution. Third, maintain order and safety. Fourth, can respond to changing needs. And last, fifth, could guide the public officials. Here are some examples of real-life applications or situations of the importance of Constitution. First, it establishes the structure of government, meaning the Constitution organizes the government into branches. It assigns powers like legislators, judiciary, and etc. And real life situations are like Congress. Congress passes a law, the president signs or vetoes it, and the Supreme Court revises it. If someone questioned its legality, so in given situation, when the Congress thought of an idea, they pass a bill, and it depends to the president if he's gonna approve it or vetoes it. Then the second job there is the Supreme Court. It's still the Constitution. The Supreme Court is the Constitution. It is somehow the mind or the voice of the people. And second is protects rights and freedoms of citizens, meaning the Constitution shields people from government abuse. Real life situation, police cannot search your house without a warrant, and you have the right to against unreasonable searches. Let's say, for example, someone suspected you as you did something wrong, but in fact you are not guilty, and in fact everyone who is not proven guilty is still innocent. So third, it serves as a supreme law, meaning no law or government action can contradict the Constitution. Real life situation, Congress passes a law that limits freedom of speech. The Supreme Court strikes it down as unconstitutional because every one of us has the freedom of speech, but it has limits. All law must comply with the Constitution. Fourth, provides stability and order, meaning Constitution keeps government functioning smoothly and predictably. So, real life situations are elections are held every 3 or 6 years as scheduled. It's president, senators, and mayors. This prevents power grabs or indefinite rule. So they cannot rule forever. Like there are predictable that their terms would end every 3 or 6 years. Then next is it reflects the sovereignty of people, meaning the people are the source of government authority. So we put someone in position as a representative of us. So they are not the rulers, they are just the mere voice, our voice. Real life situation, citizens vote during elections to choose leaders shows that the leader gained power from the people. So people are the voice. People chooses a leader to be our voice. So leaders that are in positions are not the power because it's the people who chose them to be there in that certain position. And next is the real life applications of statutes. There are given laws like criminal law. Criminal law, real life situation. A person steals a motorcycle. The revised penal code applies that the thief can be charged with theft or robbery. Then second law is the traffic laws. Real life situation is a motorcycle rider is caught without a helmet. So there is a written law that a police can issue a ticket because the Motorcycle Helmet Act requires the use of helmet. So these are laws that commonly protects the citizens. Then third could be the real life situation of labor laws. Labor law real life situation example. An employer works overtime but the employer refuses to pay. The worker can file a complaint citing the labor code overtime provisions. So if you did some overtime, you are entitled of an extra pay. Next is the tax law. Tax law real life situation. A business owner must file a VAT or income tax return. Rules come from a tax code statute. So there's a law that every businesses must file a VAT or what we so call value added tax. So yeah, every businesses should pay taxes as well. But I guess, or as far as I know, that not all businesses, or it will depends on the income in businesses. The next is students in state colleges enjoys free tuition under Free Higher Education Act. But I believe after 4 years, then you proceed into your 5th year, or you failed your previous year, then you will pay for the extra years that you will be taking. Then next is environmental laws. Real life situation of environmental laws is a factory releasing toxic smokes without filters can be penalized under a Clean Air Act. Or best example for this is what happened in Manhuyod, Negros Oriental. There was a oil spill in a certain factory. Then they were penalized by it, and they make amendments with the locals there. And next is the consumer protection laws. The real life situation of this is a customer buys defective appliances. The store refuses a replacement, but the customer can file a complaint under the Consumer Act. So, have you heard of the no return, no exchange policy? Actually, you can complain in that, because we have the consumer app. And next is family laws. Real life situation is a couple wants to adopt a child, but they must follow the procedures under Domestic Adoption Act. So you cannot just pick someone to be your daughter or your son or your child. You have to do due process. The next is business and commerce laws. Real life situation is a group wants to create a corporation. So they must submit requirements under the revised corporation code. So that's it. That's it for the importance of constitution and importance of statutes in government. Any questions? And so far, once again, I'm Dave Rene Dumalaog and I'm part of Group 3. That's it.